the 76ers have this really interesting offseason ahead of them. And I'm putting together a little checklist of things that I want to see the Sixers do. And I started it, obviously, right at the end of the season when they got bounced out of the second round, Game 7, again. And my first thought was, I think James Harden's a bigger problem. Because if James Harden comes up clutch and plays consistent good basketball, the Sixers are playing in the Eastern Conference Finals, at least. And doing that for the first time in 22 years. But I didn't want him back, and I still don't want him back, and I know it's his player option. But I also didn't think that Doc Rivers would be the guy to get him over the top. There's a better version of this team that Doc Rivers just isn't getting out of him. So I didn't want Doc Rivers back. So far, I've gotten the no Doc Rivers back, so that's check one. After Doc Rivers, I wanted Nick Nurse, and the Sixers got Nick Nurse. So that's check two. Check three is Harden, and whatever happens there, and I don't want Harden back, so I'd love to check the box with James Harden not coming back to the 76ers. Check four is going to be the hardest one because I don't know what Daryl Morey does. And check four could consist of Tobias Harris not coming back, and I'd be open to having Tobias Harris come back. He's still under contract, as we know. As of right now, he's in your starting five starting next year. But I'll take Tobias Harris coming back with Nick Nurse as a head coach and with no James Harden, because I think without James Harden, Tobias Harris will become a better basketball player. I think his scoring will go up. I think you'll see a lot more of the guy that you saw the Sixers trade for when they got him from the Clippers. And I also think that a guy like Tyrese Maxey takes a big step forward. If this becomes Embiid Maxey, then that's, I think, a good thing. Maybe not for this year right now coming up, but maybe for the year after that. So the fourth check is really whether or not Tobias Harris is going to be back, but it's also possibly, if he's not back, who you sign in free agency. Now, if you just glance, as we've talked about many times now, we've talked about the lists of free agents available for the 76ers or guys that could become available. Then there's nobody that you really look at that go, oh, yeah. No, that's the guy. That's the guy that really puts his team over the top. Fred VanVleet's name has come up a lot for obvious reasons. One, Nick Nurse, of course. The other, he's a guard, and if you don't have James Harden back, then you're going to need another guard to help run things. He, too, has a player option, so he can opt out. Sixers have a bunch of directions they can go. Jeremy Grant is another name that is out there in free agency that you can talk about. He, too, he does not have a player option. There's other guys that you would want to come in possibly to help this team. Come in and maybe put him over the edge. I don't know who that person is. You could talk about Kyrie Irving. I know a lot of people want to mention that name, if not just for the fun of it. I don't have any fun. I want nothing to do with Kyrie Irving here in Philadelphia. Don't even get me started on that. But when it comes to the potential of like a Chris Middleton or somebody like that potentially becoming a unrestricted free agent, that's where I'm really listening. Josh Hart would be a great name to possibly have in Philadelphia as well. But I think the best fit, if the Sixers can magically afford it somehow, and I don't think you do it without moving on from Tobias Harris, if Chris Middleton opts out with the Bucks for whatever reason, I think he'd be a great addition here in Philadelphia. Now, it might be a bit of a, pipe dream to even consider being able to get him money-wise. I still would love to see the acquisition because right now the Sixers are going to need that shooting. And if you're going to see Joel Embiid expand his game to be more of a facilitator, not saying a point guard, I'm not saying you're going to make him Ben Simmons, I'm not saying you're going to make him Nikola Jokic, I'm not saying that, but if you can make that part of his game bigger, where he is passing out of double teams more, where they have better ball movement, and it's not him one-on-one in the paint and then eventually getting double teamed to try to fight his way through it to get fouled and go to the line. But it's him going down there and being able to kick out to Tyrese Maxey or Tobias Harris or Chris Middleton, and those guys knock down shots from the outside. That's going to be a beautiful thing.